It's time for my junk journal flip through part 2, and I am sharing with you how to get my printables for free, my trick for writing in a bulky journal, my secret use of cupcake wrappers, my new flower loom obsession, transparent butterfly wings, and more. Here we go, y'all. Well, hello and welcome to Pink Paper Peppermints. My name is Melissa and I'm so glad you're here. This is part 2 of my junk journal flip through. And if you want to see part 1, I will link it below. Just a real quick recap. This is my 2019 junk journal and it's divided into 4 signatures. Each signature has 3 calendars in it for the 3 months of that quarter. And at the beginning, I have a little ledger paper fold out to write my intentions and my thoughts for that quarter. And you can see more of that and learn more about how I put it together and everything in that first video. Today we are on the second quarter, and so this is going to be the April, May, June section of my book. And because April hasn't started yet, I haven't actually worked in this signature, and so this flip through will probably be a little faster. And I'm not a big fan of the blank page, so these pages are already filled even before I've started working in them. That's an acetate sheet from Die Cuts with a View, and I believe that paper is also from Die Cuts with a View. And on this first page, I have a journaling card from my Shine collection, and I've just attached that just to a stack of different bits and pieces that were actually on my desk, some yarn and some paper, and that's that collection of journaling cards there that you can see, and those comes with scripture and blank. On the inside, this is the ledger paper that I was telling you about. I have that at the beginning of each quarter section of my journal, a place for me to write for that quarter what I'm hoping to accomplish and what my prayers and thoughts are. And on the next page, it's just a Bible. I purchased a Bible at the dollar store so that I could tear pages out of it and put it in my book. And then it's got sewn onto it a chipboard sticker from Me and My Big Ideas. That piece of paper is actually from, I don't know if y'all seen those magazines that have extra goodies included with them that are like stamps and papers and things. That's from one of those. And a Maggie Holmes thicker sticker attached there, just sewed it on. On this page, I created a little fold out. These cards are pages from my journal, and I created journaling cards with them. They're the Painted Pages collection. And I created this little accordion fold out because I want to do some collaging on it with different words. And I just thought it would be fun to have it fold out like that. Those cards come with scriptures on them, and then they also come blank. So these are the blank ones that I've got here on this page. And so I'll just be adding my own collaging and words, kind of like I did that playing card collage that was in the first video. So this is just an embossed paper, and I talked about that in my first video as well. I've been embossing everything lately, and I really love the texture that it gives to my book. So I just try everything to see what happens. This is a tag that is actually was a free printable from my newsletter subscribers, and I try to do those monthly, sometimes 3 or 4 in a month. So if you like free printables, make sure and subscribe to my newsletter. And that was the information there. And I'll also have a link in the description if you'd like to do that. I would love to have you. It's on, this was a big music poster that I cut down to make pages, and on the back is a children's book. That's a Simple Stories page protector with the 2-inch squares, and I just use that for photos and things. And again, you can see in the first video, you can see one that's filled up and see what I put in there. This is some Maggie Holmes paper, my favorite, of course. And this is going to be for the April calendar. So here's a little picture of my January calendar so you can kind of see what I mean. I just design or draw out a calendar for each month, and I just fill it in with stamps and stickers and little notes about my days and what we're doing in the family. This is some Chenille Lane paper with a journaling card, also from my Shine collection, and I've just taped it to the page to make a little flap down for me to journal or put some pictures or something underneath it. I always use washi tape without extra glue first, then later if I decide I want to move it, I can. That is a butterfly page wrap, and again, I talked about those in my first video. If you want to see how those work and what those are about, you can check out that first video. This is a piece of vintage feed sack material attached to a page from a vintage architecture book. I just sewed it on. This is a bag from Hallmark, a vintage bag. I don't know if y'all remember. I remember when Hallmark used to put their cards in those little bags like that, and I just love it. They're so pretty, and I put those in all my books whenever I find them. This one's a little torn. I'm going to have to repair that, but I'm going to use it as an envelope when I get it repaired. This is a vintage shower invitation, and I just attached some ephemera from my Shine collection in there and attached some pom-pom trim to it, and I really like it because it says those who are wise will shine, and then next to it says please be sure to be there. And I love how those two things kind of go together, and I may end up covering that up or writing over it, I don't know, but I just thought that was cute the way that worked out. This envelope is from a card that my youngest son gave to me. You can see it says to Mom there on the front, and I've just bound it into my book. And then what I keep inside here are a couple of things. One, just a scrap of paper with measurements on it for my calendars and things so I don't forget. And then this little mini self-healing mat. And my book is so bulky and thick that I keep that mat in there so that I can write or stamp on things. I just slip that underneath so that I can write and stamp without the bulk and my pen poking through the paper or something like that. So that comes in real handy. And I will link in the description where you can find one of those mini self-healing mats. It's not the same one that I have, but there's one on Amazon. On the opposite page is actually a page from the book, the original book that I made my junk journal from, and it was a poetry book. And at the bottom there, it says, a little boy ran to the end of the sky, and the little boy's feeding the ducks. And I have two boys who both love to feed the ducks, and both of their birthdays are in this quarter. So I've put several things in the book, or in the signature, I should say, that relating to them because their birthdays are this quarter. So this is just a tag with some little scraps from my desk that I attached to an atlas page fold out, and a Maggie Holmes sticker that I have on some vintage fabric there. On this page, it's a vintage ledger page with a cupcake wrapper that I was using for texture on my gel plate, and when I was done, the paint was so pretty. It was a foil cupcake wrapper, and so the foil's shining through that paint, and I just loved it so much, and I didn't want to throw it away, so I just wrapped it around that ledger paper and sewed it with a zigzag stitch. And if you've never tried a cupcake wrapper on your gel plate, you should try it. It makes really cool texture. So on this page, this is some, I don't know if it's supposed to be wrapping paper or shelf paper that I got at Michael's, but I really like those lemons for spring heading into summer, and that's going to be my May calendar page. On the next page is a piece of ledger paper that's actually been written on, which I love it when I find those. It's got the date of 1985 on it, and some more book pages from the actual book that this junk journal is from. And then I've just attached a little coin envelope there to make kind of a little tuck spot. And I sewed the edge of that fabric to that ledger paper so that it wouldn't kind of hang out. That little flower, I have discovered flower looms. I purchased some vintage flower looms you can see there from eBay, and so I've been playing with them, and oh my gosh, it's so fun. I really, really love making these flowers, and so I'm not too good at it yet. They don't come out very even, but I still love it. It's so fun. So on this page, I've got a little butterfly attached to a teacup, and both of those are from my Well-Watered Garden ephemera collection. And I just took a little tiny piece of florist wire and attached the butterfly to it with some washi tape. You can see there when I flip it over, it's attached to a vintage label. And it's really cute when you open that page, then the butterfly kind of pops up at you. And I really like that kind of 3D look that it has. I probably should add some adhesives. I'm not sure that it's going to stay on there with a lot of use, but we'll see. I might have to add some glue. So this is one of my favorite pages in the book, and what I did here was I have a part of the Well-Watered Garden collection is a set of butterfly pages with just pages and pages of printable butterflies that I've got another video on things you can make with those butterflies, and I'll link that. But here I just printed one of the pages out on a transparency, and then I just cut it down to size for the page and layered it over a vintage atlas page, and I just love the way that looked. I love the layering. I love transparencies because of the layers they create. At the top is a flashcard from my word study collection with a scripture on it. This particular one just has the reference. It doesn't have the actual verse on it. And I stapled a piece of ribbon on the back so I could create kind of like a little pocket for these labels. These labels are also from the Well Water Garden collection. And I stacked these labels up and poked a hole in the top and made kind of a little book with a brad, and I want to type some scriptures on there and make kind of like a little scripture study book so that I can memorize some scripture, and so that's what that's going to be for my next signature. So on the next page is that other half of that Hallmark bag, and I've just got a vintage playing card attached to it, and then on the other side a journaling card. It's actually from my beloved Valentine's collection, but I just love that scripture so much, and I thought it looked really cute with that red bag, so I just stapled that on. There's the other half of that architecture page and the butterfly page wrap. That's that Shamil Lane scrapbook paper, and then that will be the June calendar there. And that graph paper didn't quite go to the edge, so I just filled it in with some painted paper, some Maggie Holmes paper with some vintage pom-pom trim attached, and the Simple Stories. That's a little circle from my Well Water Garden kit, and I was just tucking it in to see if it actually fit in there. I may remove that, I don't know. Here I have a book page, and I had the other half of that butterfly transparency, so I cut those transparent butterflies out so that I could use them in different parts of the books, and just stapled them to the edge of the page there, and with a vintage playing card, and I really like the way that turned out. And that is a children's dictionary or encyclopedia page, I think. That's another page from the storybook that this book is made from, and again that other half of that music poster, which I didn't mention before, but it had a song about cinnamon toast on it, and both my boys, that was their favorite breakfast treat was cinnamon toast, so that's one of the reasons I used that page there. This was also something from my boys. Both my boys had the glow-in-the-dark stars on their ceilings or the top of their bunk beds, and they really liked that. And my son recently found this in his closet when he was cleaning it out. It's like a star map and one page of the stars left. So I took them and included them in my journal. This is one of the girls from those journaling cards that I showed you earlier from the Shine collection, and I just cut her out and then added some of those butterfly wings that were on the transparency to her. And then I've got some vintage paper there that I can add some journaling or scripture to, and that's the other half of that paper. This bird is from one of my most popular Traveler's Notebook inserts from Rhythms of Grace, and I had printed out an extra copy of it just on plain copy paper, so I just cut it out, just kind of fussy cut around it and attached it to that Bible page, and I just love the way that paper embroidery looks there. And then here on this page is this was a sewing notion. A lot of times when I buy bags of goodies from estate sales, they'll be stapled up and you don't really know what's in them, and they will have little pieces of sewing notions like this, and sometimes I just sew them into my book because I'm probably not going to use them as sewing notions, but I just really like the way they look and I want to see them all the time. So now this is my third signature here, which I will do in the next video so we don't make this too long, and I hope that you enjoyed that. If there was anything that you saw that you were like, well, how did you do that, and you would like to see a video on it, I'm already working on several videos from the first flip through video. I would be happy to do some more videos for you on those. If you liked this video, could you give it a thumbs up or share it with a crafty friend? Share it on Facebook or Instagram. I would so appreciate you helping me spread the word. And now have a blessed day full of peace and grace, and I will see you next time here on Pink Paper Peppermints.